Hello and welcome to a special edition of Awe and Wonder. It is summertime here at St. Joseph's College, and we had no real plans of doing any sort of shows or videos or anything of that kind of nature, but we had some news break on our campus about some of our members of our community moving on to new opportunities, and we felt it would be a really great opportunity to just have a conversation with some of those individuals, celebrate them, and just hear about their own experiences here because they're really special. So, welcome. Sister Karen, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm happy to be here, and I hope that I can inspire anyone who's listening to continue to have their positive outlook of how great a school this really is.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. It's summertime here, and you're preparing to move on to some new opportunities, and you've been here for a very long time. And so I want to start by saying thank you for everything that you've done for this community. And then just kind of, where did you start? You've been a sister since, how long have you been a sister at St. Joseph's?
A sister of St. Joseph, I have been, this is my 50th year of being a sister of St. Joseph.
That's incredible.
Yes, it's shocking to me too,
And
well. I don't know where the time went.
When did you come to St. Joseph's College?
The year 2000,
Oh,
basically.
wow, okay.
So I started with Sister Loretta and Sister Elizabeth Hill, who hired me, actually. And I had come from the Academy of St. Joseph, where I taught for many, many years.
Okay.
So a lot of academies and a lot of SJC information.
Yeah, so were you appointed here, or did you apply for something here? And what was that originally? Because we were talking to Sister Suzanne, and talking about how she started in campus ministry, then transitioned to other opportunities here. So what was that for you?
I got a phone call from Sister Elizabeth.
Okay. A voluntold phone call?
No, it was I have a great job for you. Why don't you come, and I would like to have you working in St. Joseph's College.
Oh, cool.
So I was surprised to get that phone call.
Where were you when you got that phone call?
It was the summer after I had left the Academy of St. Joseph.
Okay.
So I didn't expect to get a phone call that quickly, but I was really happy to do it for her and for Sister Loretta. And it was wild because really basically I had not one job, I had several different jobs. So there was not one job description, it was many job descriptions. And
was there a title to the job?
At that point, I think I was an assistant to the dean.
Okay.
So I was an assistant to Sister Loretta.
Okay.
But really, it blossomed in no time at all. So what started out to be a very simple job description turned into great happiness in doing different programs here within the job description. So basically, we had a wonderful time together, and it was a great experience.
It's interesting to hear about the programs that people like yourself were involved in, and then see how they have led us to where we are today. So are there any of the programs that you did then that have created a foundation for something that we see today that our students might look and go, oh, wow, I didn't know that?
Well, we started initially with what now is called the SJC Service Circle.
Okay.
But originally it was called the Dean's Service Circle.
Okay.
And in fact, a few people even call it that today, but it really is the SJC Service Circle. And what it was meant to do was to be able to provide students who really have limited time factors in being able to serve the poor, the marginalized, the college itself, outside corporations or faith-based situations that are dealing with the people in Patchogue as well as Brentwood. And it was a wonderful experience because we had different activities that we did in the fall and then in the spring. And it was wonderful because basically we were able to contact so many people that it even went into places like Queens. And so we had a lot of shifting of donations from one car to another car in Brentwood because that other car was going into Queens
to do that,
to get everything.
And this was, you started that in 2000 or 2001?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was the beginning. The one funny story was we did this Bunnies for Babies.
Okay.
And again, this was one of the first activities or donations that people could do. And again, it was at their own convenience. So you didn't have to go to any meetings, you didn't have to do anything, you just got the donations or the activities that you wanted to participate in.
Okay.
And if it was convenient for you, then you would do it. You would sign up for it. So this Bunny for Babies sounds really adorable.
I like it, yeah.
And in fact, I still have some of those bunnies, stuffed animals.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Well, guess what happened? So over the weekend, I was originally down this hallway, and it's now where the provost has an office.
Okay.
And it had a closet and it had a bathroom, and it was also a place where anybody would send anybody that was sick, and they would sleep in there until somebody picked them up. So I was in charge of
different times, people. Right?
Yes,
different
yeah, it was
times.
pretty. And then I had the desk. So if somebody got sick,
Yeah.
I was in charge of changing the sheets and cleaning up wherever they were. And so I had a sheet thing going here as well to change the sheets for the poor kids that were sick.
You were the original nursing program.
I was the original nursing program, and I had a bathroom for them. It was actually for the students that were sick. And I had this great closet. And so I got a phone call from a woman who was about to drop off real bunnies, live bunnies.
Bunnies for babies.
Bunnies for babies. And she happened to call like the Friday before we went home and said, where do you want me to drop off the bunnies? They're all in cages, and I will bring the food.
Oh my gosh.
And I never realized, it was my fault. I never put down, I want stuffed animals.
Yeah.
But basically, I was so glad to catch that one because they would have been in the closet in that room. So things like that would happen where, you learn by your mistakes. So maybe I should be
the fine print,
clearer on this. But we had a wonderful time doing that. And
awesome.
Those bunnies really came in handy. We brought them to Brookhaven Hospital.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's amazing how like a service like that can be really simple, can do such great work. And also thinking about the fine print, I feel like that's something I've learned too, is like, there's the macro and micro, and we're so busy caught up in like, it's going to be big, we got to get the van, we got to go here, and we got to get the airline ticket or whatnot, and then you forget about those little details of like, oh, we all need to eat still, or we all need to make sure, those kinds of things are planned.
It's kind of scary, but thank God I got that phone call, because if they were really dropped off, they would have been in the closet, and that would have been a terrible situation. But funny thing is what happened like that. Another thing we did, and it's one of the highlights that I thought was great. There was always a fundraiser where the students would do different acts, and it was a show basically.
Okay. Yeah.
And we did this twice to make some more money. Well, there were more nuns around. Mm-hmm. We did the finale, and we danced.
Oh, cool.
We had a great dance. The first one was from The Sound of Music. Mm-hmm. And but we took the music from my guy from the sisters that were on TV at that point with Whoopi Goldberg really was the lead. Okay. And then the next time we did the song Razzle Dazzle 'Em from Chicago. And I often think of like, where was our heads when we just went from this one extreme to the other? But we had a great time. We made a lot of money because everybody wanted to see all the nuns here dancing.
Yeah, that's so fun. There is a big history of performance events and things here in the college. And I'd say it's funny, a coworker was just showing an old video that they had found from a faculty party of everyone doing like a presentation of, one of the Christmas songs.
The 12 Days of Christmas.
The 12 Days of Christmas, and it was just like, wow, there's so many like little moments of just music and celebration, and you were part of a lot of those celebrations. Another thing that, celebration-wise, that I'm thinking about is, I came to know you as a student through my experience of graduation and going through baccalaureate, amongst other things, but I remember when I graduated, being able to go to graduation, and it was at the Nassau Coliseum, and I'm an Islanders fan. And so I was like, this is so cool. This is one of the coolest things ever. And so knowing that you're involved in that, what was that? How did you get that? How did you like end up taking those kinds of things on, and had those flourish to what they are now?
Well, I always got these opportunities by default. And so when the previous person who was in charge of student life retired, I took it on for Sister Elizabeth and Sister Loretta.
Okay.
And it all started with them. But I said I would never, which I think is God laughs a lot.
Big
I
sense
would
of humor.
never do it in the quad again. I would never do a graduation.
That's
here
what they.
again.
That's what they originally did.
That's
and
what they
it's
were
interesting
originally done.
For context too, this is in my mind, especially this year, because COVID took so many things away. And when I think things are taken away, it makes you reflect on them in your life. And then we just had graduation, and we did it in the baseball field, and we did all these different
7 of them.
7 ceremonies. It was a huge production of work. It went really well. So that's why it's on my mind. So it used to be in the quad.
Yes, and it was in the quad and in the field.
Okay.
It started out in the quad originally before my time.
Yeah.
And then when I joined, I worked with Marion Russo, and we had them in the field.
Okay.
And it was one tent, one time.
Okay. It's a big tent, or was it?
It was a huge tent.
And how many? But the student enrollment was a little different then
yes.
too. So
Then I would say, I'm making this up, but maybe there were 500 of them out there that were graduating.
okay.
But it was terribly hot.
Yeah.
None of the parents ever saw the kids graduate because the tent overwhelmed them being able to see. And those were
Okay.
the days that we didn't have cameras or any of that.
Yeah. Right. Live stream and all those.
No,
things,
none
right?
of that was
Yeah,
available.
it's crazy.
And we had the baccalaureate out there too. So it was two sit-ups. One was a baccalaureate the night before, and then all of a sudden we had to transform it into a graduation the next day. So I said I would do that, but I would not do it out there ever again, because it was very difficult to get help.
And it was hot.
It was hot,
Yeah.
and you turned green. Your legs were. It was too much. So she said, Sister Elizabeth said, "Okay, whatever you want to do, you find it though." And all I kept thinking about was parents having unlimited tickets for their graduation, students having a place to sit that was air conditioned,
Right.
parents who would be able to see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to, I called the Nassau Coliseum and said, well, that's the only place that, in my head, would really take care of us.
Right.
And they were wonderful to us, wonderful
So you
people.
just call them up and say, "Hey."
I just called them up and
That's
said,
awesome.
I would like to book the Nassau Coliseum for a graduation.
That's so funny.
And one thing rolled into another, and I brought the administration at that point, Sister John Raymond, Sister Elizabeth, Sister Loretta. It was like an entourage going to the Coliseum. And I had been there before that, by the way, to meet the people that they would be meeting.
Okay.
And they were wonderful to me, and they were wonderful to them. By the time we walked out of there, they had shown us all around. And when we walked out of there, every one of them was very much in favor of doing this move.
Yeah.
And we had a wonderful experience there, and so did the grads.
Mm-hmm.
It was
super
really
unique.
5-star.
Yeah, it's a really unique thing, and it's something I always tell students before COVID and whatnot, because some of them might say, I don't know if I want to walk, or and I always say, no, you got to do this. You're so gonna regret not doing it more than you would regret doing it. Like, you really got to experience.
It's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And what I loved about the graduates doing this, basically, because I was in charge of the whole thing, there were two things that would make me cry. One was watching 90 volunteers from the school go in and take over and run and set up and line up the graduates from the school. And there were maybe 900 to 1,000 graduates at that point. And then have them be totally prepared. I used to stand in the back of the X hall, we called it.
Okay.
And like tears would come to my eyes because I was watching the faculty line up, all of the volunteers that worked this, working away, getting everybody ready, and having a great time doing it. And then all of a sudden, when it was 3 o'clock, they were ready. We were ready to go. And the other thing that you would just fill me with joy is watching the graduates match in with the pipers bringing them in.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing to witness.
It was so touching, and they were so enthralled.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful experience for me and a wonderful experience for everyone
So
else. We had a good time.
I've gotten to see it from three perspectives, like graduating, and then the following year after graduating, I went to see a friend graduate, and then working here, getting to be on the floor in that perspective. And all three experiences were really, really special in that regard. So, yeah, and it's amazing how something can become such a well-oiled machine, and it just sort of, and when it finishes, don't you look at it and you go, how did we just do that? Like,
very much so.
Right? But there was all this planning, all these things, and how did you did you feel like you were prepared when you started to do it, or just kind of baptism by fire with something? Because that's a big type of thing.
Well, I had a lot of help from the Coliseum people.
Okay.
They have several unions.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. That's
and I would go in frequently in the first time we did it to make sure that what I was thinking really could happen.
Yeah.
And then it just spiraled into those union members as well as those leaders, and I became friends.
Oh, cool.
And they would always say, St. Joseph's might be the last that graduate, but they're our favorite people to come here and graduate.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it was it was great and interesting because I valued those people so much, and
cool.
they valued us as a college. And we still have a connection there.
Yeah.
And the connection that I have there is someone who watched me and our school for 13 years.
Yeah.
And said, this is the school I'll take care of. I will bring you along with this new
ownership
or whatever to make sure that you have a place here.
That's so cool. I know I'm like so off the tracks right now. I love the inside baseball of like events like that. And as a kid, if I would go to any sort of big event at a Coliseum or something like that, I was always just amazed at how these things came together. And like you watch those like time-lapse videos of how something gets set up, and it's like, and I always think it's amazing. It's like, the other night, like there were guys on ice sliding around here, playing an intense sport, and then now here we are all dressed up, and so I just think those kinds of things are little mini miracles. But
I have to also thank the people that were there, but I also have to thank the volunteers.
Yeah.
Without them and the plant department, without them, we were there at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
3 or 4 of us. And we did that graduation so that when people came in at 1, it was already set up. They were spectacular. And we had a lot of fun with the union members and everyone else there. So
yeah.
It's a blessing.
That's awesome. Recently, so what are some of the things you've been involved with recently in the college, and some of the, I guess, one of the things I'm thinking about is like, what are some of those things that you're reflecting on now that you start to say, wow, I'm really proud of that. That's something that surprised me, but it went well, and I'm really excited to have that in my bank, so to speak.
I think the opportunities that were given to me through actually the presidents, really. So Elizabeth and Loretta.
Yeah.
And well, that was easy because it was a phone call away, and it was like, Karen, would you do this? Yes.
Right.
That kind of a thing. And the opportunities to be with students. The whole point was to do everything that I did for the students so that they would have a real experience of whatever they were going to do, and that it would be as convenient as possible for them to volunteer,
right.
To become a part of. And so I think of that. I'm also, again, pick this up, in charge of the presidential grant students.
Okay.
With Adriana Silva.
Yeah.
And the diversity union. We've worked together for years, but one of the things that we had was a step squad. That was so awesome, and we used to compete.
Now, step is the dance or like the cheer?
It's the dance.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
it's and we would compete with our step squad. That was very multicultural.
Yeah.
And we would be in Stony Brook all the time. And competing there and competing in different schools.
Wow.
And that never happened here.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and they had a ball, and they were really good. And when we went to different places, maybe we didn't win, but we were there, and we were represented by all different students of all different color, and it didn't matter.
Right.
And they worked so hard, and they were really awesome.
And how did you form that? Is that something that was on your heart, or you just
just wanted a step squad?
The students did, or you guys got together and were like, hey, this would be cool?
We were like it was kind of like a thing I was fascinated by.
Oh, cool.
And like if I were having a party, if I were a student, I would want to be in a step squad.
Yeah.
Because I love that.
I love the opportunity of being on a college campus, because those are the types of things where you can sit down with someone and go, I think this is cool. Let's try it.
Right.
And it might not work. It may work. It may really surprise you with how much it works, and you're like, whoa. But I feel like that can only happen in places like here.
Yes. And I usually get these inspirations when I'm watching movies. So, for an example, I watch Drumline every time it's on television.
Drumline. Really?
I love it.
The Nick Cannon movie.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
This is amazing.
So the next thing I was hoping to do, although it never happened, was have a drum line in the school. I didn't care if we had a band as much as I wanted a drum line.
No sports teams. Basketball, we could do it for basketball, right? Can you do drum line?
It was really very funny, but these were the things that were interesting to me, and I loved watching it. And to this day, when Drumline, I always pick it up. Texas A&M, when they're doing the competition, I love this.
I just want to say here, going off the but like these aren't scripted conversations. That is an incredibly fun fact that should be in all SJC trivia from now on. What is Sister Karen's favorite movie? Because I don't think anyone would ever predict that.
No, I don't think so
Drumline,
either. I love it.
That's hilarious.
That's
so cool.
I cannot not watch it.
It's awesome. Well, I think that the fun of that speaks to the fact that you really are about school spirit, and you're about the energy of what can happen when a lot of people come together. And that's what I hear that, I chuckle, but then I think about it. That's really what I take away from that, is that if people come together, the horns entering or the bagpipes entering into the Coliseum, and this feeling of collaboration, which has kind of been your thesis, I guess, so to speak, of your time here. Gathering people together. Yeah.
I think it's really important to open it up or engage all the members of the faculty, the staff, the administration, and just all of us together being able to come together and be able to pull off things that we would never have thought we could do.
Yeah. Well, it's so great to have this time with you, and I really appreciate everything that you've done for this community and the ways in which that you have set a foundation for things that will be down the road. I think it's so important, and it's great to have this here kind of as a time capsule, so to speak, of what you've brought to this community in a small way. So, and best of luck, and we'll be praying for you in your new opportunities, and hopefully you get some time to maybe do some vacationing or trips or something, or watching Drumline.
Yeah, I will. I definitely watch Drumline.
Perfect.
Wherever I am. I just want to thank you for having me, because for those people who listen, this school is so connected. It's almost a spiritual walk in the way to live your life. And I have nothing but praise and honor for the people that work here and the people who have that spirit of the Sisters of St. Joseph. One heart, one soul, one mission. And in the end, I think we have worked very hard at making that happen with compassion and great love for each other, as well as for our students, who we do the best we can for.
Yep.
And it's been my pleasure and privilege to be here, especially today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thanks for tuning in here. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll see you in the fall. All right. God bless.
Right. Shine the light, everyone.
Amen.
Amen.